back in 5th grade when our humanities teacher was teaching us about the conflict that was happening in Darfur. That really stuck with me. And then when I was in 7th grade and I was about to do my bar mitzvah project, I remembered Darfur, and I asked my Rabbi George, what I could do to help the children in Darfur, and he put me through a Jewish World Watch, and that's how that started.
The world will not get better on its own accord.
Every step you're taking, you're saying yes to social justice, yes to compassion, yes to what is good and the higher aspirations in our society.
He gets to be the finish of the shot. Oh,
Drove up, there were all these people outside all wearing purple. Every day during the months that the genocide actually occurred, people go to the memorial, and it was really eerie because they were all silently walking out to the mass graves.
Actually, the borders we have now were fixed by the colonial masters. Rwanda was much bigger before. Reason why we have some other communities outside of Rwanda, which is the Kinyarwanda speaking people. So they are the former Rwandans before the borders were fixed.
I slept like a baby every night. I was just completely exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally. Before making this trip, I didn't know much about the specifics of the genocide at all. After actually going to Rwanda and learning about the genocide at the Genocide Memorial, it just keeps me driven to help these people.
So how many people are buried on this site?
It's 259,000.
From back when I was 12, when I started this project, up until now, the sum total that I've raised is almost $90,000. Robin Strickler is probably the most amazing woman on the planet. She knows everything, but not in a cocky sort of way, and has this very calming tone, and she's one of the nicest people I know, and she's very dedicated to help these kids. The kids knew we were coming. They didn't really know what to expect, they knew we were going to be teaching them, and actually when they saw me and Madeline, they had no idea what we would be teaching them, but we did, even though some of them were older than us. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I wasn't intimidated, but didn't know what to expect. It took me about 10 minutes to get comfortable, because from the second they saw us, they were so nice and so welcoming. Okay, so the very first day we were at the school, we were there to observe, and then that night, we went home and planned our lessons for the next day. Thursday was our day to observe, Friday was our day to teach, Saturday and Sunday they don't have school, and then on Monday we had an incorporated lesson with the actual teachers, with their teachers. Melissa is speaking with a woman whose name is Lawrence, and they met on Melissa's previous trip to Rwanda.
She gave a talk of her life, and she explained that even though those bad things had happened to her, that she loved God and forgave people.
Lawrence lost 13 of her 14 kids and her husband during the genocide because her neighbor killed them.
What forgiveness means.
What was so moving to all of us, especially Melissa, was the fact that Lawrence had forgiven her neighbor for doing what he did. As I was observing all the classrooms, they were just so enthusiastic and so ready to learn, which is just the complete opposite of kids over here. There are S2s and S1s. They have an English class where they're taught English. The S2s are the equivalent of 8th graders, the S1s are the equivalent of 7th graders, and you could really tell the difference between the way they spoke English. The S2s were, it was much easier to have a conversation with them. As the S1s, it was much harder. The oldest S2 is probably 20. It was 20. The oldest S1 was probably 17. The youngest S2 was 13. The youngest S1 was probably 12. Making friends was probably the easiest thing to do there, because they're the nicest people in the world. I probably left with 9 or 10 brothers and 7 or 8 sisters. This guy was painting the railing, and we saw that he was wearing those shoes, and they were just completely beat up and they barely stayed on his feet, and we said, you know what, we have plenty of pairs of flip-flops downstairs, let's give this guy a new pair of flip-flops. So we grabbed the size that we thought would fit, and it fit, and we gave them to him. These two boys formed a rap group, and they called themselves Prison Boys. It's because that before they were taken into the school, they were on the streets, and if they hadn't been taken into the school, that's where they would have ended up. They would have been prison boys. The trip to the safari was actually with the S2s. And we were actually just as excited as they were, because I mean, we hadn't seen these animals, but neither had they, and they lived so close to them. It was awesome. After going to the secondary school, the older kids' school, and then to the preschool, it was very, very different feeling because older kids had this nice building, but these kids have a bunch of wooden sticks strung together. And the little kids are honestly just as eager to learn, but not in the same way yet. They were very, very loving kids and the sweetest kids you'll meet. But yeah, the language barrier was tough.
Maybe the children go outside and the teacher has a chance to work with a small group.
Saying goodbye was extremely difficult because these were people that we had just met and who were so kind to us, and we had to leave, and honestly it's going to be hard to find them again. When the trip was over, I was completely wiped out emotionally and physically and mentally, but after I came home and recovered a little bit, I came back with renewed energy and more hope that I can help these people.
We believe